In the spring of 1905, after traversing the Druze mountain in southern Syria, Gertrude Bell rode north toward the ancient oasis of Damascus. Known as a place where diverse communities crossed paths, it quickly lived up to its reputation.
Above all other cities, Damascus is the capital of the desert. The desert stretches up to its walls. The breath of it is blown in by every wind. The spirit of it comes through the eastern gates with every camel driver. In Damascus, the sheikhs of the richer tribes have their townhouses. You may meet Muhammad of the Hassaneh or Basan of the Beni Rashid peacocking down the bazaars on a fine Friday in embroidered cloaks and purple and silver kerchiefs fastened about their brows with camel's hair ropes bound with gold. They hold their heads high, these lords of the wilderness, striding through the holiday crowds, that part to give them passage, as if Damascus were their own town. And so it is.
To Bell, the sight of desert chieftains moving with ease through the heart of a great metropolis was a visible remnant of a time when Damascus had been the center of an empire born from the Arabian steppe. This heritage still shaped how the city saw itself and how its rulers, past and present, claimed legitimacy.
It was the first capital of the Bedouin caliphs outside the Hejaz, and it holds and remembers the greatest Arab traditions. It was almost the first of world-renowned cities to fall before the irresistible chivalry of the desert, which Muhammad had called to arms and to which he had given purpose and a battle cry. And it was the only one which remained as important under the rule of Islam as it had been under the Empire of Rome. Muawiyah made it his capital, and it continued to be the chief city of Islam until the fall of the House of Umayyads 90 years later.
Damascus's rise as a capital was bound to the career of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, a contemporary of the Prophet Muhammad and governor of Syria. In the turbulent years following the assassination of the third caliph, Muawiyah emerged as a rival to Caliph Ali, eventually prevailing and establishing the Umayyad dynasty in 661. By making Damascus his seat of power, he shifted the political center of the Islamic world out of Arabia and into the Levant. This brought the caliphate into direct contact with Byzantine administrative skill, secured a base near the empire's richest agricultural lands, and gave the new rulers a capital already accustomed to hosting emperors. Bell's arrival coincided with an era when the Ottoman governor presided over a province that was anything but uniform. Damascus, Aleppo, Homs, and the smaller towns of Syria were bound together in name. Yet each held its own religious sects and loyalties. In the mountains, Druze and Maronite leaders pursued their own politics. In the steppe, Bedouin tribes raided and bargained according to their needs. In the cities, Arab, Armenian, and Greek merchants navigated both imperial law and foreign consuls' protection. It was a realm in which the governor was often as much a mediator as a ruler.
In the sense of a land inhabited mainly by Turks, there is not such a country as Turkey. The parts of his dominions where the Turk is in a majority are few. Generally, his position is that of an alien governing, with a handful of soldiers and an empty purse, a mixed collection of subjects hostile to him and to each other. He is not acquainted with their language. It is absurd to expect of him much sympathy for aspirations political and religious, which are generally made known to him amid a salvo of musketry.
Even within the Arabic-speaking population, there were deep divisions between urban merchants, rural peasants, and nomadic tribes. Each group had its own networks of loyalty and mutual suspicion, making it difficult to unite them under a single banner.
There is no nation of Arabs. The Syrian merchant is separated by a wider gulf from the Bedouin than he is from the Osmanli. The Syrian country is inhabited by Arabic-speaking races, all eager to be at each other's throats, and only prevented from fulfilling their natural desires by the ragged, half-fed soldier who draws at rare intervals the Sultan's pay.
Among the city's leading families, none commanded greater respect than the sons of Emir Abd al-Qadir al-Jaza'iri. In Algeria, in 1832, the young emir rose to lead a resistance against French colonial invasion. For 15 years, he fought a war across the plains and mountains, combining tribal levies with disciplined cavalry, until French reinforcements and scorched earth tactics forced his surrender. He spent years in French captivity before being allowed to settle in the Ottoman Empire, where his piety, learning, and reputation as a warrior philosopher preceded him. Bell visited the homes of his sons, men who inherited his prestige and commanded respect among the city's elite.
It was there that al-Qadir had lived, and there that he had sheltered, during the black days of the massacres in 1860, 1,000 Christians. About his name, there lingers a romantic association of courage and patriotism, crowned by a wise and honored age, full of authority and the power lent by wealth. For the al-Qadir family own all the quarter in which they reside.
In Ottoman Syria, religious communities, Muslims, Christians, Druze, Jews, lived under a system that recognized their separate legal identities, but also kept them in a delicate balance. In times of prosperity, coexistence was possible. In times of strain, old resentments and competition for land or political favor could erupt into violence. Absent strong centralized Ottoman governance, weakened by foreign wars and internal decay, local disputes could spiral quickly, as they did in the summer of 1860, when fighting between Druze and Maronite Christians in Mount Lebanon spilled over into Damascus. An anti-Christian pogrom in Damascus broke out when a crowd of Druzes, Bedouins, Muslim Arab city commoners, and Kurdish auxiliary forces attacked the inner-city Christian neighborhood of Bab Tuma. In a matter of days, thousands of Christians were killed, their homes looted, and churches destroyed. It was in this moment that al-Qadir used his household and retainers to shelter vulnerable Christians, cementing his legacy in the city. Among Bell's many calls in Damascus was one to Sheikh Hassan Nakshabandiyeh, head of the Nakshabandiyeh Sufi order in the city. In Ottoman Syria, such religious leaders wielded influence over matters of faith and local politics. The Nakshabandis, with their roots in Central Asian and Ottoman Islam, maintained lodging houses for dervishes and visiting scholars that were part monastery, part guest house, and part political salon. As a European woman, Bell was able to cross thresholds that were closed to her male contemporaries, entering the inner domestic spaces of Damascus's elite. In the Harem, where political visitors would never tread, she observed the private rhythms of life behind the formal reception rooms.
Sheikh Hassan took me to see his wife, his fifth wife, for he had divorced one of the legal four to marry her. He has the discretion to keep a separate establishment for each, and I do not question that he is repaid by the resulting peace of his hearths. There were 3 women in the inner room, the wife and another who was apparently not of the household, for she hid her face under the bedclothes when Sheikh Hassan came in, and a Christian, useful in looking after the male guests and in doing commissions in the bazaars, where she can go more freely than her sister Muslims.
Despite periodic sectarian violence in the Levant, Damascus remained home to several Christian denominations, including the Greek Orthodox. As Ottoman subjects, they enjoyed a recognized legal status under the millet system, which allowed religious minorities a degree of self-governance in personal and community matters. Their quarter of the city was a place where traders from multiple backgrounds worked side by side, and where the languages of the Mediterranean mingled with those of the desert.
Selim and Mustafa and I went out and lunched at an excellent native restaurant in the Greek bazaar, sitting cheek by jowl with a Bedouin from the desert and eating the best of foods and the choicest of Damascus cream tarts.
This mix of desert and city, Christian and Muslim, local and foreign, extended well beyond the merchant quarter. In her wanderings, Bell crossed paths with pilgrims, street vendors, holy men, and strangers from distant lands, each encounter adding another thread to the tapestry of Damascus.
Nor let me, amid all this high company, forget my humbler friends, the Afghan with black locks hanging about his cheeks, who gave me the salute every time we met, the red-bearded Persian who keeps a tea shop in the corn market, and who is a member of the Baha'i sect, among which I have many acquaintances. As I sat drinking glasses of delicious Persian tea at his table, I greeted him in his own tongue and whispered, "I have been much honoured by the Holy Family at Acre." When I rose to go and asked his charge, he replied, "For you there is never anything to pay. I vow there is nothing that so warms the heart as to find yourself admitted into the secret circle of Oriental beneficence. And few things so rare."
Bell's last Friday in Damascus brought the city into sharp relief. Streets brimmed with color and sound, men in silks and fine wool, merchants calling above the clatter of trade, horses racing by the Barada River. It was a weekly ritual in which the city displayed itself, a final image for the traveler who would soon depart.
Damascus on a fine Friday is a sight worth travelling far to see. All the male population dressed in their best parade, the streets, the sweetmeat sellers, and the auctioneers of second-hand clothes drive a roaring trade. The eating shops steam with dressed meats of the most tempting kind, and splendidly caparisoned mares are galloped along the road by the river Abana.